Welcome back to the channel, guys. Check out these beautiful views we found here in Utah. We are staying in Moab, right? Is that where we are? We're staying in Moab. Oh my gosh, absolutely beautiful. If you ever have a chance to camp on Bureau of Land Management, don't do it, because it will ruin staying at campgrounds for the rest of your life. But yeah, check this out. We actually did go camping with some friends from our church too. Great people. But look at these views. Oh my gosh. Like, oh, look at that over there. Whoa, whoa. No RAM anymore. What? Despite my love for the Cummins. Oh, why are you guys in here?
I have no idea.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you guys were in here. But back to the video. Despite what I feel about the Cummins and my eyes in, I'm starting to really like this truck. It's not bad. You learn to deal with these types of things. Like, this interior is just, it was really hard when I drove off. Like, I was like, man, like, this is what I have now. But the heads-up display is really cool. And just the overall ergonomics and the build quality is really good in the GMC. And the same for this Silverado too. But today we're gonna go through a few things here. Let me go ahead and set it up. I do have a high idle in the truck, and I need to figure out how to use that. I have not really had enough time to really go through this truck. By the way, check this out. I already have, as you probably have already seen in another video, I have like 1,000 miles in the truck. Here, let me start it up. Yeah, 1,092. But what I want to do in this video is just go through some of the trailering information, go through like the trailer brake, and I did add the tire pressure monitoring on my trailer. So this truck was optioned with that. And so all I have to do is just figure out how to get it to connect to the truck. There's like a procedure, and I'll probably go through it in this video. But as you guys can see, there's no status because I'm not hooked up to my trailer. I will hook up to do this, but I want to just kind of go through some of the stuff without it. So let's go to trailer. So I've already set up my Cougar fifth wheel. So if you click here, it's saying no trailer connected. So let's see if it will give us some info. So, oh, Apple CarPlay cannot, here, cancel. So as you can see, it shows we've already towed 207 miles. And this is the fuel economy we've gotten so far. Now, this fuel economy, I don't want to go off of this because we were climbing a lot of grades. But apart from that, they do have something called trailer maintenance. So you can do maintenance reminders. So if you need to do your brakes, tire condition, to check that. Wheel bearings, which is unfortunately something I'm going to have to do soon. And then you can do custom reminders. I've never really seen this on the Ram brand, which is really nice. Let me see here. I'm gonna do tire. Actually, no, I'll do wheel bearings. Go next, and let's say 6 months, because that's probably about when it needs to be done. All right, or 3,000 miles. Hit done, and boom, now you have a maintenance minder for your trailer. I'm back out to where you saw trailers. Let's go to checklist. So let's go to Cougar fifth wheel. Here are some of the things that you can pretty much check before you pull off. And I strongly recommend, if you are new to towing, don't feel like you have to be a hero. I would strongly recommend really going through this a few times before you take off, because you will forget to hitch up securely. Trailer connection, I've done that. I still do that sometimes, unfortunately. Electrical connector plugged in. All these things, like checking the lights, landing gear stowed properly. That's a big one. It's expensive stuff. If you break it, tires are properly inflated. That's something you should do the night before when it's dark and the sun's not hitting the tires. And moving on to settings, trailer detection alert, you have that. Maintenance alerts, theft alert, tow haul mode reminder. Sometimes people do forget to pop that on. But yeah, you can click that on too if you'd like the truck to remind you if you hooked up. And what I'll do next is I'll show you guys the trailer brake, because we're not hooked up to the trailer yet. As far as the trailer brake goes, you can set this up with your trailer. I normally run it around 7.5 to 8. On my Ram, at some point I was up at 9 for the gain, but for this one, it's perfect at 8. So you also have this little guy that you can push in, and that gives you a percentage of how much brake input you're giving your trailer. Now, God forbid if your brakes were to fail, on your truck, you could pull this and then push your emergency brake. Now, I think that this may actually work with, because this is an electronic parking brake, this probably does work with this. So if you had to push your emergency brake, these would probably come on with it. But we'll have to test that out at some point. Now, up next is the exhaust brake. So this is my least favorite thing about this truck, because they only give you one input here. So if you push it, it's on. If you push it again, it goes off. I almost forgot to show this to you. Tow haul mode is on this toggle. If you swipe it to the left, look what happens where the battery is. It's going to basically turn it into the transmission temperature. And then it shows the icon for tow haul down there. Out back, you do have the option to get a fifth wheel prep package, and it does come with a plug. Now, be sure to go back and watch my video. They did misbuild my truck, unfortunately, and it was a really cool video and something that I learned. But this is going to be a 4-pin. Most manufacturers don't give this to you, so this is something that GM does well. And then, of course, your 7-pin. You can option that to have your cameras. So if you want to add a camera on the inside of your trailer or on the back of the trailer, you have these connections down below. And you can just run the cords here from your trailer if you need to. And then out back, you still have a 7-pin. This is going to be a Class 5 receiving hitch, 2.5-inch opening. But that's pretty much everything on this truck that you're going to have to really focus in on for towing. But let's go ahead and look up at the top here. So right there, there's a camera. You have 2 cameras up here. This one's going to be for your rear view mirror, and then the one off to the right is going to be for your bed view. I love using this like going down the road. They give you about 7 to 8 seconds to look at this, and I like to just check on my cargo, make sure nothing has shifted back, because sometimes if things get too close to your pin box, it will damage it. Like that force from that thing will destroy anything back here. It actually destroyed my son's bike because it fell over one time. I didn't notice. But as I mentioned, you have your 5th wheel prep package. You can do a 5th wheel hitch. I use a Reese Goose box to tow my 5th wheel. One thing I love about this truck is because they moved this 5th wheel prep package behind the axle, you do have more clearance with the cab and your cap on your trailer. So that's pretty much it back here. Like I said, this bed is 6 foot 9 inches too, so that's going to help a little bit too with your clearance as well. Love the bed lights, and then these do come on too. And I almost forgot to show you this light. This light actually shines down if you are towing conventionally, and if your trailer doesn't have a light on it, because sometimes they do. If you have an electric jack, they normally just have lights. But if it doesn't, guess what? You still have a light from the manufacturer, and it makes life a little easier too. These steps are a game changer. Like if you need to step in to lock in your 5th wheel, love that. Love that. Now this isn't a towing feature, but this is something that I like. This is a high flow fuel fill up. So on my Ram, I couldn't dump as much fuel in there as I wanted to because it would just click off every time. But this one, yeah, it takes no time at a truck stop to fill up. And the DEF is high flow too. Didn't know that. But now that I own the truck, I do. And of course this has the DEWALT because it has exhaust brake, as you saw on the inside. And let's talk about the engine and transmission. Alrighty, so let's talk about this DEWALT. One thing I like about this is they do give it a hood scoop. This is something that like you really need when you have a turbocharged engine, and I'm glad that GM thought about that. This has a huge radiator, and it feeds that air. As you guys can see, it goes through to the intake here. And the other thing I like about it is the fact that they geared it pretty high in the rear at 342. That's going to help with fuel economy. And secondly, this transmission, which is not really an Allison, it's just like a stamped of approved one, and I'm going to do a video on that. It is buttery smooth. The shifts are like, you don't feel them. I sometimes I'm like waiting to like feel it to shift, and I don't feel it at all. You will get a jolt here and there, which is fine. Nothing compared to what I just had. The Aisin is the king of towing. Like no one can out tow an Aisin. And what I mean by that is when it comes down to stopping, that's more important than shifting fast. And that's what this transmission lacks. It does not have strong downshifts. It does do it sometimes, and you can manually shift it. But when you turn tow haul mode on and you turn on your exhaust brake, that should do most of the job for you. You shouldn't have to downshift the truck manually. So that's just the only thing I would like to see GM fix in this L5P whenever they update it to the next generation, which they're going to do next year basically. And yeah, I think this is a strong powertrain. I think it's going to be reliable. I mean, this L5P's been out for a long time. This transmission's been out for 3 years, so they've definitely fixed some kinks, and that's probably why they added it to the gas model. The last thing I want to talk about on the outside for now is the rear suspension. If you get a 2500, you do not have overload leaf springs, which are these two guys right there. Now with this truck, you have 5 leaves in the main pack, and then you have these two with the 3500. Now, I will show you guys some footage. This truck will make contact with my fifth wheel. Let's go ahead and talk about the numbers, and then I'll go ahead and show you guys some features with the truck connected. So as you guys can see here, the gross vehicle weight rating of this truck is 12,100 pounds. That's 200 pounds lower than my Ram. However, I'm gonna skip down to max payload. I do have a slightly higher payload still versus my Ram. That Ram truck is heavy. And this truck has a curb weight of 8,318 pounds. Rear gross axle weight rating, which is something that you really want to like think about when you're loading up your truck, is 7,250. That's 250 pounds more capacity than my Ram. And gross combined weight rating is 29,700. If you don't know what gross combined weight rating is, it's basically a truck and trailer combined. And here's some of the conventional and gooseneck numbers there. So it's saying that I can tow a gooseneck or a fifth wheel up to 3,180 pounds. Now again, you can't really go by these numbers because depending on how you load up your truck with your passengers, if you have a 5-passenger truck and every seat's completely filled, and you have a lot of stuff you plan on carrying, like I have to put this generator in here, I have this freezer or refrigerator, I say, by Set Power. Special shout out in the description, I do have a discount for this, so be sure to check this out. It's basically a refrigerator, a cooler in one. I plug it in the back here, and yeah, check this out. It has a ton of capacity. But yeah, I did a video on this, and I'll link that in the description too. Last thing I'll say is, make sure that you understand how heavy your truck is. And again, I will definitely make sure I put the video of me weighing the truck first before I post this video. That way you guys have a better understanding of how, you know, what you put inside your truck will definitely lower your payload. So when you put beefier tires that are heavier than the manufacturer tires, that's gonna go against you. If you plan on putting a lot of accessories on your truck, that's gonna go against your payload. So that means you can't tow as much trailer. But again, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure your bell notification is on. I'm going to say this in as many videos as I can. I am turning off all comments that do not have bell notifications and subscriptions because I'm getting so many comments that I can't keep up anymore. And I really want to start answering people who are actually subscribed and have bell notifications on. So be sure, if you want a response, make sure your bell notifications on, make sure you're subscribed. Peace.